Welcome to the Excited Education channel, the YouTube channel which brings you about mathematics and biology. Now we are going to discuss about biology on the point called the hormonal control of animal function. I would like to request each and everybody who is watching this video to make subscribe, comment, share and like, such that by the time I would like to upload my videos, he or she is ready to make like and comments or watching those videos that I would like to upload. So I'm teacher Amy Chris on YouTube channel called the Excited Education channel. Now let's advance, or let's go ahead on the point called the hormonal control of animal function. So in this point we are going to first understand the term hormone, then followed by animals, and you just correlate what is the correlation between hormones and animals, what are the function of hormones to the animals, and how can be hormones controlled in animals. So that's what we are going to discuss. So let us see, go ahead. Here there are modes of hormone action. So hormone, you have to know that, is transported through the body of animal to target cell, which possesses specific receptor sites. The target cell responds to hormones with specific charges in activity. So here you have to know that first, hormone is made for target cells. So it is transported through the body of the animals through those target cells that are ready to accept the activities that is directed by the brain due to the lineup of the hormones in different parts according to the part of the body that are likely to perform a specific function. So those hormones are already transported through the target cells, and you have to know that all animals' function are controlled by two systems, where we find that there is nervous system and the endocrine system. So for the part of endocrine system in animal function controller, they broadcast its hormone messages and as essential to all cells by secreting into blood and extracellular fluid. But for effective reception of hormones messages, cells must have a receptor for the hormone being broadcast in order to respond. And it is important to know that a hormone does not seek out a particular organ. The organ waits for the arrival of the hormone. So here, this is what we call the endocrine system. The endocrine system, as I said, it is like a broadcast, its hormonal message essential. And you have to know that the hormone does not seek out particular organs. The hormone is not the one which to seek the particular organ, but the organ waits for the arrival of the hormone due to the system of transportation, or according to those target cells that are likely to perform the specific function of carrying out hormone from where it is made to where it is required. So here, the role of hormones receptors. So the given hormone usually affects only a limited number of cells, which are called the target cells. So a particular cell is a target cell for a hormone if it is containing appropriate functional receptors for that hormone. So you know that if the hormone is already given to the receptor cells, the receptor cells are called the target cells. So those target cells are ready and have the appropriate functional receptors for that hormone. So, and hormone influence their target cell by chemical binding to specific protein or glycoprotein receptors. You have to know what is the receptors. Receptors are constantly being synthesized and broken down. The number of receptors is target cell for a particular hormone usually vary between 2,000 and 100,000. So for the excess of the hormone may reduce the number of target cell receptor and effect called down regulation. Due to the excess of hormone, it may also lead to reduction of the number of target cells. So here, simple meaning is that if the hormone is secreted by a given tissue and it is secreted on a high rate, it can cause or it can bring about to the destruction of receptor cells. So, and when a hormone is in short supply, the number of receptors in target cell may be increased. So this process is likely to be in reverse. Here we find that when the hormones are in high extent, they likely to reduce the number of target cell receptors. Whereas when numbers of hormones are in short supply, they lead to the increase in the target cells. You know that the hormone are transported or are accepted by those target cells. Due to its excess, you know that there is what we call the reduction of the target cell. And when the receptor is and when the hormone is in short supply, it can also lead to the increase of that receptor cells, target cells, because they don't have what to transfer. So the classical view that endocrine organ function through the circulatory system is no longer supported. So here we are going to see from the diagonal cell or from the master cell, where we find that there is what we call a neuroendocrine influencer, and in those master cells are likely to secrete what we call histamines, and histamine is already transported or to the peripheral, the parietal cell. So here, as you see, an example of this is the role of histamine in control of acid secretion in the vertebrates stomach, whereby stimulatory factor converge on mast cell in the stomach, leading to the release of histamine, which stimulates acid production. This local hormone action, where the target cell lie near the secreting cell, is called what we call pancrein signaling. There is also a autocrine signaling, where the secreted molecule act on the that hormone. So here, these are the like the classical reviews, and the organ's function through the circulatory system is no longer supported. As we see here, we find there is what we call pancrein and the autocrine that are already secreted, are acting as secreting cell, and where the secreting molecules act on the secreting cell itself. And we find that these are likely to be occurred in what we call stomach of the vertebrates. So here, the identification of endocrine organ. How can you identify the endocrine organs? So the removal of the removal of candidate tissue or organ should produce deficiency syndrome. You have to know that endocrine glands, they are a removal of candidate tissue, and they are reimplantation of the candidate tissue or organ should result in the reversal of associated deficiency system. Here in the identification of endocrine organs, there is also in the administration of an extra of the tissue or organ should also result in reversal of associated deficiency symptoms. And finally, the suspected hormones must be purified. It's structure determined for the sustaining in its biological activity. It must extend the same biological effect as that seen previously with the intact organ or tissue. So here, the chemical nature of hormone. First, you have to know that animal hormones fall into one of three major classes. You have to know that chemical nature of the hormone, you have to know it can be classified in these three major classes. We define there is peptides and proteins. There is what we call amino acid derivatives and steroids. So these are the three major classes of the chemical nature of hormones. So there are, however, exceptions to this, such as that range of compound known as prostaglandins. Prostaglandins, it's an exception to those to be classified in peptide and proteins, amino acid derivatives, and steroids. So all hormones can also be classified into two broad groups according to their solubility. This is due to their solubility. They can be classified into soluble in those on which can be soluble in water, and those which cannot, which are soluble in lipids. So here, these are like the chemical nature of hormones, where they react to be in peptide and proteins and acid derivatives, even steroids. But there are also other hormones that are likely to be soluble in water and soluble in lipids. Also, this is due to their solubility. And there is what we call amino hormones. So these are water solubility hormone synthesis and storage. So amino hormones, amino acid derivative, are synthesized by decarboxylating and modifying certain amino acid. They are called the amines because the amino group is retained. They are stored as granules in cytoplasm until needed. This is what we call amino hormones, and they are likely to be composed of amino acid derivatives, and they are likely to be classified or to be called amino acid derivatives because they have amino group and are retained on those granules for that hormone is already stored in cytoplasm until it is needed for the specific function. There is what we call peptide and protein hormones, are synthesized on rough endoplasmic reticulum and consist of 3 to 100 amino acids. These are transferred to the Golgi apparatus and packed and stored in secretory vesicle of export. So several of the protein hormones possess an attached carbohydrates group and thus refer as glycoprotein hormones. There is also another point or another hormone called eicosanoid hormones. Eicosanoid hormones are derived from polyunsaturated fatty acids such as arachidonic acid, and the principal hormones of this class are. So here we like to find the what we call hormones synthesis and storage. We like to find those that are synthesized by amino acid, other protein peptides, and there is also what we call those are likely to be manufactured in polyunsaturated fatty acid. And here there is lipid storage, lipid soluble hormones synthesis and storage. Here these are what you call water soluble hormones synthesis and storage, where you find amino hormones, find polypeptide and hormones and protein hormones, and what we call eicosanoid hormones. Now we are going to see what we call lipid soluble hormones synthesis and storage. Here we find that they are called steroid hormones. These steroid hormones are derived from cholesterol and are synthesized on smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So once synthesized, the steroid hormones pass into the bloodstream. They are not stored by cell. So example include the sex steroids such as testosterone and androgen steroids such as cortisols. So here these are what you call one of lipid soluble hormones synthesis and storage is what we call steroids hormone. So for those steroid hormones are likely to be found on the reproductive part of the human being, where we like also called as a sexy hormones. So here there is what we call thyroid hormones, where you find T3 and T4 are synthesized by iodination and coupling of two molecules of the amino acid tyrosine. So here these are what we call thyroid hormone, and are formed through process of what we call iodination and the coupling of two molecules of the amino acid tyrosine, and there is what we call a nitric oxide. It is both the local hormone and the neurotransmitter. Its synthesis is catalyzed by what? By those chemical reaction. And here the nitric oxide, what you call the reason why are likely to be called a neurotransmitter, it is those substances or hormonal substances are likely to occur in process of coordination, transferring one message from a part of given part of body to the specific part of body. For instance, when there is what you call the stimulus on the body, the receptors send the message to the nervous system, and then the process starts for the coordination of those impulses. So here there is a mechanism of hormonal action. Let us see different mechanism of hormone action. So hormone, how it works, how hormone operate in the body. So here we are going to discuss about also the mechanism of hormonal action. See, here these are activities that are likely to be initiated by the hormones. So there is what we call hormonal stimulus produce one or more of the following change on the cell activity. In cell activities, the hormone are likely to change this due to its need. So the change of plasma membrane permeability and or electrical state by opening or closing ion channels. In this process of transport system in the cell, the hormone is the one which is likely to change the permeability of plasma membrane due to its secretion. So this allows the passage of specific ions and food molecules from outside of the cell to inside of the cell where it is required. Also, another hormonal mechanism is what we call synthesis of certain regulatory protein molecules, such as enzyme within the cell. So it is also in a specific part of synthesis of the enzymes. So those enzymes that are likely to be used in the cell activities is likely to be produced by hormone. So there is another hormonal mechanism, and it is enzyme activation or deactivation. So due to fact that enzyme is not acting on the specific substrate, the hormone is responsible to activate that enzyme, or if the enzyme is working on high rate and it is required to be in reduction mode, they are likely to be done by the hormonal mechanism. So this is what we call deactivation. And another mechanism of hormone action is what we call induction of secretory activity and the stimulation of mitosis. So you know that in the process of cell division in cell, the mitosis is likely to be started by or to be initiated by what? By the hormones. So those hormones is likely to be acting in such a that to start what you call mitosis. So this is what we call a hormonal mechanism action. So these changes or effects are brought about by a hormone interacting with its own specific receptors. This receptor site for the hormones. So here there's what we call a membrane boundary receptors. So membrane boundary receptors, there is likely to be those membranes that are likely to be found the receptors that are specific to the hormone. So peptide or protein hormones and most amino acid derivative hormones combine with receptors that are located in plasma membrane. So for the peptide hormone and what we call amino acid derivative hormones are likely to found their receptors in the plasma membrane of the target cell due to their hydraulic nature and therefore their inability to cross the phospholipid bilayer of the plasma membrane. This is the reason why you have to know that why the peptide or protein hormones and the amino acid derivative hormones, their receptors are likely to be found or to be located on the plasma membrane. This is the reason of that target cell. This is the reason that the peptide and protein hormones, peptide or protein hormones and amino acid derivatives hormone are their receptors, or they are hydraulic in nature, and therefore they have inability to cross the phospholipid bilayer of the plasma membrane. So the hormone binds to its membrane receptor and triggers a series of biochemical reactions that leads to production of biological response. So this is what you call, if the membrane accepts, membrane bound receptors accept the hormone or the message from hormone, the hormone also binds on that membrane receptor in order that to make an exchange or to vibrate their substance into the receptors or biochemical reaction, and then leads to the production of biological response. The first step is in such series of reaction is the activation of another membrane bound protein. So if the protein binds to the target cells, it exchange, or it vibrates, or it leads to vibration of the cell. If the vibration of the cell occurs and those neighboring cells also get an effect due to that vibration of the first cell. So a substance at risk and called gynosine diphosphate GDP binds to one of 3 subunits of G protein, hence the name G protein. So the activation of the G protein by a hormone receptor complex causes the phosphorylation of GDP to produce guanosine triphosphate. So you know that if the hormones binds to the target cell receptors, we say that it exchanges, or it leads to the vibration of the cell. So the substance that arrests called what you call gynosine diphosphate. It binds one of 3 subunits of G protein, so finding on that cell, and hence ready to be called a G protein. And after, there is what you call activation of G protein by a hormone receptor complex, and it causes the process of phosphorylation of GDP, where it produces what? Guanosine triphosphate, and it produce a conformational change in the G protein. Then the G protein dissociates into its constituent subunits, the subunit which has the GTP, or what you call guanosine triphosphate, bound to it activates another membrane bound enzyme called the adenylate cyclase. GTP is eventually converted back. So here, this is what we call a process of membrane bound receptors, how the hormone is likely to perform its specific function, from where it gets the message to the cell that is specific to transform it. So there is here a process how it takes place. The adenylate cyclase removes phosphorate group from ATP to form CAMP, what you call cyclic adenosine monophosphate, and the function of CAMP is to activate an enzyme kinase. So kinase are enzyme which phosphorylates other molecules to alternate their conformation. In this process, CAMP is called a second messenger, the hormone being the first messenger. In fact, binding of hormone to receptors initiates a series of events which lead to the generation of the second messenger within the cell. So the second messenger then trigger a set of molecules interaction that alter the physiologic state of the cell. So this process is likely to be called the membrane bound receptor process. So this is how the hormone acting, while it brings, or it takes the information to the specific cell with the specific target cells. As we see, it binds to the target cell receptors to ready it to vibrate. So if it vibrates, there is a change in what? Cellular molecule arrangement, and they accept that message from the hormones. So this is our first topic that we like to discuss about, and I wish that you understand each and everything. And I wish, if you have a problem in this point, just make a comment on our YouTube channel called Excited Education Channel, and we will reply you later for your specific function, for your specific question. And our It's our time, or it's our responsibility to respond to you according to what problem you have. So allow me to stop from here. For the next time, we will see what we call cytosolic receptors, and continue to know about what we call hormones and of animal function. This is our topic, and wish you the best. Thank you very much. I'm Chaimi. Don't forget to make subscribe, comment, share, and like to our channel to see more videos. I would like to invite each and everybody to continue watching what we call cytosolic receptors. Thank you very much.